My name is Chris Weddle. We've had an informal conversation prior to the meeting. It is commenced at 7 o'clock. I've been asked to act as temporary chairman for the purposes of opening the meeting, calling the meeting to order, and for appointment of a chair. So the organizational meeting in the Newcastle Fire District No.1 Board of Fire Commissioners dated January 5th, 2022 is hereby called to order. Can we please stand for the pledge? Commissioner White, would you?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please. Thank you. As the board is aware, the chairmanship of the Board of Fire Commissioners expires at midnight on December 31st, previous year. There's a vacancy for the chair, calling for nominations for chairman of the Board of Fire Commissioners for today, running through December 31st, 2022. Any nominations?
I nominate Terry Hoyt.
I have a nomination for Terry Hoyt. Second it. I have a nomination in a second. Mr. Frank, anything?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, we have a nomination from Commissioner Murphy for Terry Hoyt to be chair, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Do you have any nominations to offer?
No. Do I have any nominations? No, I think if I were nominating somebody, it would be Commissioner Hoy.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion before calling a vote? Hearing no further discussion, I assume Commissioner Hoy, you'll be abstaining.
I will abstain.
Calling the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, take a seat.
Thank you, Chris, very much. Thank you very much. Just give me a second, please. First, I just want to say thank you to the board for your faith and confidence. I will do my best again this year for the residents of the fire district, the board, and the fire department as well. I also want to thank Robin, our treasurer, and Christine, our secretary, for all the hard work you've done over the year and in recent months, along with Carrie from Newcastle Media. Thank you very much. Having said that, just a very brief statement regarding public comments. This is an open public meeting tonight. No one is here. However, I would just ask the secretary and the treasurer to monitor our email should there be a question tonight that we can answer, or so we can address the concerns of the residents. Having said that, now we're going to appoint various individuals and agencies and persons to very specific titles. Right now, the first thing on the agenda is appointment of attorney.
Make a motion that we adopt a resolution appointing Michael Dory of Hogan and Rossi Esquire as attorney for the Board of Fire Commissioners in Newcastle Fire District No.1.
Do we have a second?
Second.
The second was Commissioner Murphy. All in favor?
Aye.
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 The next appointment will be bond. Actually, I don't believe this is an appointment. This is a reporting that our bond counsel is. Or would you like to do a resolution for these?
I'd make a motion we adopt this. You know what? You're right.
Yeah, we're reporting who are current. Yeah.
However, we do have a document in terms of engagement.
Oh, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, on this one, Chris, I think this should be appointment of bond counsel.
This will come up in a legal and contract review, right? If we have a letter of engagement.
That's a good point. What would you recommend, Treasurer?
I would refer to Michael Ligorio.
Sorry, guys. So Terry, what do you have in front of you? You have an engagement letter for bond counsel?
Correct.
I think you could proceed. Obviously, we're in the midst of a transaction. Your bond counsel has been providing consistent advice to you over the years, just by virtue of the fact of the prior tax issuance on the acquisition next door. So I think it'd be appropriate to move forward on that.
Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is the following: number 7 through 11, we're reporting who we're currently working with, and these relationships will continue. And I'll just read them out. Bond counsel: Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood. Fiscal advisors and marketing. Architect: Mitchell, associates architect, and engineer site planner. JMC planning, engineering, landscape, architectural, and land surveying. And then finally, our project attorney, Lynn E. Weinig of Windell's Marks. So having said that, I think we've reported, and Mike, is that good enough, reporting these existing relationships with respect to the project coming up?
Yeah, that's good. And then, Robin, just correct me if I'm wrong. I think bond counsel may have provided an additional engagement letter.
Yeah.
Okay. So Terry, what you've done so far is perfectly fine. And if we want to bump the new engagement letter, frankly, you could do it tonight if you want to, but otherwise, if we want to keep it strict as far as organizational meeting items, we could take care of that on the 18th.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. We just wanted to ensure that the residents of the district, through full transparency, knew that these relationships are still ongoing. And we wanted to do it during the organizational meeting. Okay, next item, if I haven't missed anything, is appointment of the treasurer.
Make a motion to appoint Robin Rizzo.
Do we have a second? Second is Dwight. All in favor?
Aye.
Ed?
Oh,
Okay. We can see you, Ed. Sorry about that. You're welcome, Robin. Congratulations again. Next item, appointment of secretary.
Motion to reappoint Christine as our secretary for the Board of Fire Commissioners. Christine Dennett, sorry.
Dennett.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
The next item is setting the salary for treasurer and secretary.
I would ask treasurer and secretary to leave the room, please.
Fair enough. Ladies, give us a moment, please. Thank you. Do we?
Not the building, just the room. All right, so last year we had
19 each. We budgeted 20 this year.
we had 19, no, we had secretary at 15 and treasurer at 19. We later raised the secretary because she was doing additional work for the department. I don't know if that still happens. What's the current on the secretary? 19?
It's currently 19. And we've budgeted 20 each.
I don't know if Christina's doing additional work for the department.
Well,
I don't know if she is, but I can tell you now, she's having a hard time with them.
With the department?
Look, she's, I mean, he does it himself.
so let me say this. We budgeted 20. This is going to be a very, very busy year for us.
Last year.
It was, and I believe they're both worth the salary of 20,000 each. However, I'm not going to make a motion. That's just in my view. And it's going to be a very busy year.
Everything I've seen from both of them, I think, justify the higher salary. They're doing fantastic, each of them, I think. So I'd make a motion for the 20.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, so we have a second on Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, discussion, please.
Oh.
We have a discussion now.
$1,000 increase. Well, in the scheme of things, in the scheme of the budget, it's not a large increase. But is there a need for it? I'm not saying neither of them is worth it. But I'm saying it is a part-time job. Is the increase justifiable? Can we explain it?
My feeling is that every time there's any question regarding monies, and if I ask Robin a question about the monies, she's on top of it, already ahead of me. She's already got the answer ready to go.
Okay.
As far as
Same
Christine's
here on my
concerned,
side. I mean, she's right on top. She's right there.
she's running, she knows how to run these meetings. She knows how to run our district with us. I mean, she's doing a fantastic job. She knows policy. I think she's a big asset, I think we'd be making a mistake if we didn't give her a little bump. And to show our appreciation. I mean, it was not impossible to get through when we had a change of secretaries. But it's difficult. And now we're coming into a spot where we want continuity. And I think we want her to be on board for the foreseeable future. But I think it's justified personally.
I'm done.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Discussion completed. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So that's 5. Who made the motion again? Dwight, and then Dwight, and then Mr. Murphy.
No, Ed.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did.
Ed did. Got it.
Please stay here.
Come on.
5 steps.
So we've adopted a resolution authorizing the salaries for the secretary and treasurer, $20,000 a year each. Is that correct?
Yes. Dwight made the motion. Ed seconded. It was all in favor, 5-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next item, and I would ask that on this one, both Robin and Chris jump in and discuss this because this is a very important issue. We're going to set the treasurers and commissioners bond. Please, Robin, you go first, and then Chris, please help us out with this.
So I believe historically, we had $3 million as our bond. And last year, it was interpreted that we had 4 and we went out to our insurance carrier for the 4, but there was some discussion on the 4. So right now, we are at 3 million, if I'm correct, right, Chris?
That's my understanding.
Which is, we feel that's adequate.
What say you, Chris? Is 3 adequate in your opinion?
But in terms of our general fund and our capital reserves, what funds are there outside of the budget?
So we are in, our balance is over 4 million, but we are protected by a MULOC from Westchester Bank, which is a letter of credit for over 5 million. So we're covered on the bank's end, the 250 for FDIC insurance, and then with Valley Bank, it'll be a third party collateral, which will mean another bank will collateralize the funds, but with Westchester, it's a letter of credit that covers over 5 million.
We've broken our accounts into, or our funds, I'm sorry, into a number of accounts, each of which are covered by either FDIC insurance or by a third party guarantee or line of credit, right?
Yes,
So our $4 or $5 million is covered.
yes,
We can't lose it.
correct.
So we don't have to bond beyond $3 million, right?
I don't think so. I do not feel we need to.
I would agree with Rob.
I would agree with Robin as well. It seemed to me as though that the bond company was urging us to do background checks. And I am opposed to that. I will be unless they want to pay for those background checks and it's the proper background check. In other words, something similar to a public trust. So just moving forward, it should be noted that I am opposed to that.
No, I agree. I think having a background check to pick up my jaywalking arrest in LA 30 years ago is not terribly relevant.
Exactly. I would agree. All right, so, number 15, we've set the treasurer's and commissioner's bond,
At 3 million?
3 million.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion on that.
So I make a motion that we set the treasurer and commissioner's bond at $3 million.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Again, authorizing bank for depository of district funds. I'll open this up. Treasurer, please, let's discuss this issue. And then we'll need a motion to move forward on that as well.
So our current banking relationship is with the Westchester Bank, who is merging with Valley Bank. You must have the name of a bank on your real minutes. You must designate one in order to do business with them. So not knowing how our relationship would be with Valley, we want to open our ability to work with other banks within Chappaqua. So we have added Chase, Bank America, and Citibank. And they are just options that we could research and choose if we so need during the year.
So for right now, we need to designate the current bank that we're using, correct?
The current bank we're using, the one that is going to change into Valley Bank. And 3 options are if we want to make a move or disperse our funds, we have the option to choose the other 3. One of the other 3, 2 of the other 3, whatever.
Question.
Please.
I mean, at any time during the year, we could, by motion or resolution, adopt any bank we want. Right?
Yes, but it has to be,
Doesn't have to be one that was adopted during the organization. If all these banks go out of business, we can still find a Wells Fargo or something, right?
correct. It just takes an action. It just takes a resolution, which normally you just handle it on January 1st.
And if we authorize these particular banks, it doesn't mean we're actually going to use these banks or anything without a motion and a vote by the board, right?
Correct.
I make a motion that we authorize the following bank depository of district funds: Westchester Bank, Valley Bank, Chase Bank, Bank of America, and Citibank. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for that. That's actually a good move. That just gives us options. Thank you.
Pretty streamlined.
Yes. Thank you for that. The next item for resolution is authorizing signatures for the checking account. We'll need to designate the Board of Fire Commissioners and the treasurer. So I'll entertain a motion and discussion on that.
I'll make a motion that we resolve that we authorize the treasurer and at least one commissioner or any 2 commissioners to sign checks. Further, that we authorize the treasurer to have electronic checks sent for various utilities, including Verizon, Con Edison, Amalgamated Life Insurance, and such.
To include but not limited to, because,
To include but not limited to, yeah.
right, perfect.
Second.
Second as amended.
Should you?
Everyone good? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for that. Next resolution will be appointing of official newspaper. Any discussion on this one? We've historically used the Journal News. It's the newspaper of the region, if you will. It's the only one left. So I'll entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion that we continue with the Journal News as our official newspaper.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Setting meeting times and dates. There's a suggestion here, but I think we may want to have a discussion on it. I'll just read it. Right now, as it stands today, our meetings are third Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. unless otherwise posted. Work sessions and executive sessions as needed. So we did have perhaps a little concern regarding scheduling, or did we move through that already?
I think we had a brief discussion prior to going into session. There are some hitches as between the proposed third Thursday of the month and departmental drills and the ability of the chief staff to be present at our meetings. I suspect that we can work around that. So I would propose that, I'm sorry, I'm not propose, I would move that we designate the official meeting schedule as the third Thursday of every month to commence at 7 o'clock at the fire station #1 here at the junctions of 117 and 120. Said meetings to be adjusted for religious holidays, weather events, and other special occasions upon proper notice to the public.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I will point out that the March meeting is on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, and we're going to have to discuss that one at some point.
I think we just need to note to the chiefs that they have to have a chief here.
Actually, that's a good point. Well, can we back up into a discussion, or is it too late?
No, it's not too late.
All right, thank you. That's a very good point. If we're having our regular meeting, I think it's incumbent upon the department to have a chief here or a senior officer.
Somebody, this.
Yeah, one of the chiefs or a senior officer.
Somebody that we can question.
It would be very good training for one of the senior officers to be here instead of one of the chiefs if the chief has a legitimate reason not to be here. So we'll include that as well. Thank you. Next resolution, appointing an auditor for the district.
Don't we have an auditor? BST, I know Sex BST split up, so I know it's two different entities, but don't we have a contract with them? Most of the time, it was either a 3 or 5 year
It's
contract.
a 3-year contract.
3-year?
But I don't think it's up yet.
Treasurer?
I think it may be up for this year. And we should be looking at it.
If it's up for this year, then I think we should table that.
Well, we have an audit scheduled for the past year's work through December 31st, which is on January
Yeah.
18th.
18.
Yes.
But BST is doing that. And but that may be their last audit. But at the end of 3 years, perhaps it's time to either see if they will re-up at 3 years at the same price, or whether or not we should be looking elsewhere for a contract. You know, I know historically we did this year to year. It was A, inefficient, and B, expensive because we had to go out and compare prices every year. We were to lock in, Jerry Gallagher was able to lock in
They locked it
a
in.
3-year contract at fixed price, which saved the district a fair amount of money. So if we get to, can we table designation of the auditing firm? Because
I would ask, Mike, can we table the appointment of the auditor until next month?
Robin, so look, we are going to start the audit. Maybe what you guys should do is authorize the expenditures for the costs you're going to incur right now, and then on the 18th we can make the official appointment.
no, that's right. But those expenditures presumably, Mike, I don't know if you can hear me, are presumably already approved by contract. Robin is nodding her head. Yes.
Oh, I wasn't sure when the 3 years ended, guys. I'm sorry. So if those.
So it looks like this January 18th
Yep.
is paid for, but it may be the last year of our contract with BST.
Okay, so if it's, but the appointment's for 1 year. And if
No,
you're,
it's a 3-year contract.
yeah, no, understood. Chris, you have a 3-year contract, right? But right now, you guys are, from what I'm hearing, you're entering into year 3 of that deal, right? So 2022 is covered. So if it's covered and the appointment of the auditor is only a 1-year appointment, then you guys can make that appointment. And during 2022, we'll go out to secure a new audit contract effective, 2023 and hopefully beyond, right? For another 3, we'd hope to get, an audit price for another 3 years locked in.
Precisely right, but I think we want the flexibility to have some chunk of time in 2022 to explore, compare, and negotiate an additional 3-year contract to commence with the 2022 audit in January of 2023, right?
Yeah. So I think by virtue, Chris, I think we're saying the same thing, but I don't think, I think that you guys doing your appointment tonight for 2022 is okay. It's covered under your last year of contract, and it doesn't obligate you to anything in 2023. So in 2022, we'll go out to bid for audits.
But it does obligate us for the 2022 audit, right?
If in fact are you covered under the contract for 2022? I thought you guys said you were.
No, we were not. We were the 2021 audit,
Which we pay in
Which,
2022.
Understood.
oh, we paid
Okay.
in 2022. Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood, Mike.
Okay, so again, this resolution is for the appointment of our auditor, BST and Company CPAs out of Albany, New York.
Terry,
And
Terry, can you
and-
just, let me interrupt. I'm sorry. Chris, I want to make sure I understand correctly that I didn't miss anything. Your audit contract for 20, your auditor is doing work in 2022 for the 2021 audit, correct?
That's
correct.
Okay. Now, calendar year 2022 has not been selected yet.
Correct.
Also correct.
Okay, all right. So, okay, so in 2022, we are going out to bid for audits, and that's going to cover work for 2022, right? Because they'll do the 2022 audit in 2023.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So as of right now, we all have the same understanding as to what is going to happen. So I guess, Chris, my question is to you at this point. Do you still have any questions?
I didn't hear the end of the question, Mike, sorry.
Okay, now that you and I are on the same page, we're all on the same page. Do you have any further questions?
Yes, my question is whether or not we are required, without exploring options, negotiating, or looking at other people, to designate an auditor for the year 2022, the work of which will be performed in 2023 at this meeting right now, or can we buy a little time?
Okay, so would you guys mind tabling that for a few minutes and moving on? I'll do some quick research and I'll just get right back to you. I'll just pull my books and take a look and see if we're, just make sure we're not making a mistake.
Thank you, Mike.
Before you do, I just want to say, I'm inclined to appoint the current auditor right now so they can complete their work from 2021. And then at that time, we go out to bid or renegotiate with them, because we may just be renegotiating with them. We don't need to go out to bid for this type of service.
No, but I understand Mike to be saying is we designate an auditor for 2022 right now.
Mhm.
Whoever's doing our audit in January 2023
Mhm.
for the year 2022 will be who we choose tonight.
No, because we could, with their resolution, we can select who we want
Well,
thereafter.
the way he's explaining it, that's who we're picking.
Yeah, okay.
No,
So
no,
I disagree with the premise. I think we can appoint now and a resolution and repick later if we wanted to. But I may be wrong. Mike, go ahead and check that. We're going to continue on. Thank you. All right. Next thing is to approve affiliations and memberships for 2022. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read them. If there's any objections or additions, let me know. In addition to this, if there's one during the year we want to add on, we can do that through resolution. Okay, so the affiliations and memberships for 2022 are as follows: Association of Fire Districts of the State of New York, Westchester County Association of Fire Districts, Mount Pleasant Fire Chiefs Association, NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, FASNY, the Firemen's Association of the State of New York, Hudson Valley Firemen's Association, Westchester County Association of Fire Chiefs, New York State Association of Fire Chiefs, and finally, Westchester County Volunteer Firemen's Association. I'll entertain a motion on this.
Yeah, why are we eliminating the National Volunteers Firemen Council, the Chappaqua Millwood Chamber of Commerce?
We haven't eliminated it. If you wish to add one, that's what we're, That'd be part of the discussion.
I'm just wondering why, I'm just looking at the minutes from last year and those two organizations that were there last year and not there this year. And I'm just wondering why no one has told me anything about it. Anybody?
Well, one of them, we no longer, Brian, help me out on this one, please. Thank you.
The National Volunteers Firemen's Association, I don't recall really ever being a member of, which I could be wrong. I mean, in the Chamber of Commerce, I don't see where they were helpful to us at all or in anything. I mean,
Or that we've paid any dues towards
right.
being members.
What we did, Chris, was we washed the list from last year, which was apparently incorrect. And this is what we have for this meeting.
If you want to put the National Volunteer Firemen's Association back on, we can put it back on. But I mean,
No, I'm just saying.
oh, that's what I mean. You just wanted,
We can add and subtract from this list at any time.
I understand that, but last year on a motion, Brian, made by you, we adopted a resolution appointing a list of affiliations. On that list of affiliations, the National Volunteers Firemen Council, the International Associations of Fire Chiefs, and the Chappaqua Millwood Chamber of Commerce. Those three affiliations are not on this year's list. I'm wondering why.
the Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah,
that was Eric to put us into that, to
well,
help us.
that makes sense.
It makes sense, but they never helped us.
Do you think it was free with Community Day or anything?
No,
Well, that was a Rotary Club. Never mind.
yeah, that's Rotary, yeah,
All
that's
right,
Rotary.
so we're striking that.
But I mean, the National Firemen's Association, I don't know what they ever did for us. I mean,
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
that's why, you know, we could have, and if you want to put it back on, I got a problem with it.
No, I'm not, I don't have a problem either. I'm asking. Just out of curiosity.
That one, I think we added on mid-year.
Mid-year last year?
Yeah,
But no, these are the minutes from the organization. Do we pay dues to these folks, all of them? I don't know, National Volunteer Firemen's Council, probably. What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I would just like to ask the board if they would take my recommendation that our accounts pay for all memberships rather than a reimbursement to the Chiefs Fund, because then I can track the memberships easier.
Absolutely.
So I think Chris is bringing up an issue that we have with this fairly long list of associations. First of all, when you add up the sum of the cost of all these, it's quite sizable. And because we are paying for these affiliations and memberships, we need to have 100% control. So I would certainly support the treasurer's observation with respect to the board paying for these and not permitting them to come out of, say, another fund.
No, I agree. One question, one more. International Association of Fire Chiefs.
The question is,
Why are we dropping them?
I didn't see it.
What's last year? Last year was the International Association of Fire Chiefs. It's not there this year.
That one, I wouldn't drop them.
That's what I'm asking.
I didn't see that one on the list the other day.
So you
No,
wanna
put them back on. I mean,
Put them back on? Okay. So we, just to recap, the National Volunteer Firemen's Council, we don't believe we need. The Chappaqua Millwood Chamber of Commerce, we don't believe we need. The International Association of Fire Chiefs, we believe should be included into the list on the agenda. Is that correct?
yes.
I'll make a motion that we resolve to adopt the affiliations membership for 2022 as listed on the agenda for January 5th organizational meeting, with the proviso that we include or add to that list the International Association of Fire Chiefs.
and that we would take any association off that's not actively being used. at any time during the year.
That's fair. As amended.
Yeah.
Motion stands.
So, got a motion. Do we have a second on that?
A second,
As amended.
yes, man.
Move this for discussion, just real quick.
Please.
Per Robin's request, should we be stipulating that the board pays for them as opposed to reimbursing
Yes.
anybody for payment?
Absolutely.
Would you accept that as part of your?
As
Motion.
amended.
Excellent.
I'll second as amended.
This was a good discussion. We needed this discussion last year, actually. We didn't get all the way on it. So, very good discussion. Thank you. I mean, listen, oh wait, we're in the middle of a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 You needed to do that. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All right. Appointing board members to committees. What's your pleasure, gentlemen, on this? We'll just run through it quickly, and I have an observation and recommendation on a couple of these, and I would expect perhaps everyone else to do the same as we're running through. Fair enough?
Let me just. if I could-
Sure.
If I could ask this. With respect to the committee assignments as they now stand, does anybody have any changes they would like to propose?
Yes.
Oh, boy, here we go. You first.
Thank you. I would highly recommend that Commissioner Christopher Weddle be assigned to finance with Commissioner Smith. In addition to that, one other thing. In addition to that, I would like to establish a new committee, legal and contract review. And I would like to be on that committee. I would also like Robin to be on that committee, if permitted. And I'd also like Commissioner Christopher Weddle to be on that committee. These are my observations and recommendations. Dwight, you're up.
I wholeheartedly agree with your suggestion that Chris be on the finance committee. I might take it a step further because I feel slightly uncomfortable being on it, but I'll be on it for the duration if you'd like me to. Just I bring much to the table in that regard.
Well, since you brought up, I think you need to remain on it. For the reason of, for the purpose of understanding the process and learning the process.
Fair enough.
However, with the addition of Chris on that committee, I think the residents and the board will be well served.
Chris is willing, I'm happy there.
Could I also ask that the two of you receive the bank recs monthly as opposed to all, or would you still want all to see?
I think that the two of us would be fine, but I think we need to remember that any member of the board at any time can request to see the statements, the canceled checks, anything involved with the finances.
Right.
Not that we don't trust.
No. Understood.
That makes life easy. That's fine with me. Oh, wait, I just accepted. Okay. All right.
You did. All right, so let's put the, okay, any other observations or recommendations or additions or deletions to the committees? Any discussion on this?
I think on house, I had Tony with me,
Mhm.
and I helped Tony in trucks.
I'll go on house with you if you need help.
This is what I'm just saying. I did have, that's all, but doesn't matter. I mean,
If you want help on house, I'm more than happy to. And as you know, I come to you periodically for help on trucks.
no, I'll stay on trucks with you.
Okay,
Okay.
if you want to be on trucks, I'd be
Then
happy
he
to
can
help
help
you.
you in house.
Okay, no, fair
If
enough.
you want to be on it, you will.
Well, listen, I can be an
You got
alternate.
enough shit to do.
I can be an alternate on house. I know the systems, I know the trades. So maybe as an alternate if you want. Do we have any disagreement that we need a legal and contract review subcommittee? I really think we need this. In fact, it was several months ago that our attorney, Mike Lagori, who's online with this, highly recommended that we pay particular attention to our contracting and so forth. And we've done a much better job this year, in my opinion. In fact, we've come a long way.
But legal and, isn't that why we have Mike? I mean, we're not lawyers.
That's not entirely what, I mean, you're an attorney.
Not contracted, Ken.
So anyhow, I'd like to keep this conversation kind of leveled here. Does anyone have an objection to establishing a legal and contract review committee?
No.
If our council recommended it, I think it's a wise idea.
Okay, so Chris, will you be on that committee with me and Robin, please?
Yeah, for what it's worth. Sure.
Excellent, thank you. Let's just run through the committees quickly. They're finance, insurance. Chris, you're gonna hold on to insurance?
Yeah.
Chris does a great job with that. Trucks, house, communications, purchasing uniform and turnout gear. I will do that with the we need to stipulate that for every purchase order we sign, we need to see a quote first.
I thought we had I thought we had thresholds. I believe
So-
the general municipal law threshold is $25,000. We have a self-imposed threshold. It was around 6. Now I think it's higher.
You have a purchasing policy?
You do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this up,
But if I have to go buy a light bulb, I don't want it to go out and get quotes.
no, that's not what we're talking about. Let me just discuss this, please, without interruption for a second. Over the past 12 months, I have seen few purchase orders. And I've been asked to sign very few. What I think should be happening in terms of purchasing with respect to this committee is we should have a quote or a couple of quotes. And then once that's approved, then we go to a purchase order. I'm pretty certain that's the process.
So.
And I think that we need to formalize or revisit that policy to make sure that before anything's purchased, it's properly authorized with a signature from the board. And that's all I'm suggesting here. But for last year, for being on the purchasing committee, I saw very, very few purchase orders.
Well, there is purchasing policy. And some of the things that I have seen ordered, yes, it should have come to the board.
Yes, and that's all I'm saying. Yeah, we need to improve on the
I thought
process.
The board took it back. I thought that the chief knew I could just sign off on any PO. There had to be something coming back to the board. I thought that had happened.
I don't think we,
I mean, the problem is it's gonna be very difficult to get done the business of the department if you have to wait for the board to do anything.
oh, really, I mean, he used
That's
to do it.
That's not entirely true. In fact,
I'm not saying entirely true, but if I need a light bulb, I can't run down the hardware.
That's
store.
not
Yes,
what,
you can.
that's not what we're,
What are we talking about?
that's not what we're talking
What
about.
are
So,
we talking
so having said,
Turnout gear, hose,
about? Okay, yeah, it's larger.
yeah, like Jordan, like
So-
new equipment.
So what's the threshold?
Yeah, it's so, he's not just going out buying, and he's making the decision, this is the one I want.
Right, but it's,
Where's the,
what's
you know-
the threshold?
Right.
We used to have a threshold. I don't know if we still do.
The purchasing policy should tell you what the thresholds are.
so having said,
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah,
I'm in
and
trouble.
you have to be on, Chappaqua Fire Department.
Yeah, no, she sent me.
so I'll wait, but may I continue? Thank you. So I have purchasing uniforms and turnout gear. I'll keep with those. We need to review the purchasing policy and we need to have stricter controls on quotes and purchase orders. Period. Yes.
Can I ask a question, Terry? So
Yeah.
if another commissioner signs a purchase order, it then should be going to you because you're in charge of purchasing? Because we've had that happen this year.
We need perhaps to look at the policy and see what's best. But then again, we can't say, for example, if one commissioner, say, for example, I'm not available, I'm out of the region or out of the district. No, it should just immediately go to another commissioner for approval.
I think the webpage is down.
Okay. Next committee, technology. Ed, are you
Yeah,
going to stay
okay.
in technology?
Yeah, I'll stick with that. Yes,
All right, you're also going to be on the project committee.
yes.
We're going to, we do not have a committee for the project. Any objections to establishing another committee? One called project or projects?
I think plural is better.
Projects.
Capital project?
I think these are projects that are going to require architect, engineer, attorney, all the projects that Ed is typically working on. So we're going to add a committee for you. Should there be no objection, of course. Projects. Are you good with that, Ed?
I'm good with that. Yes.
Thank you. Medical and physicals, I will continue with that. The chiefs did a great job this year with medical and physicals, particularly with everything going on with COVID. Next page, town board liaison. I will remain on that. Chris Weddle, you'll remain on that, please. Thank you. Compliance policy and review. Everybody?
Everybody.
I would agree.
We are gonna.
No, that's a great idea because last year, I think Chris and I, we had our hands full and it took us, several good weeks anyway, to get our hands around that one, but it's very, very important. All right, that's good.
However, though, I mean, I do understand that the prior year, 2020, there was a comprehensive policy review done by the then sitting board, in which policies were thoroughly reviewed. So I believe we can put that off. We don't have to do that at this meeting. I don't think we have to go page for page. I think we can do that.
Yeah, we'll address that coming up. In fact, it's right after this, is it not?
Yep.
Okay, and so we've established we've established what new committees?
Projects committee.
Projects and legal and contract review. We've put everyone on the compliance policy review, and that will include both the treasurer and the secretary. So list all those out. And then the next item on the agenda, please.
So do you need to have a motion and a second to approve those committee members?
We do actually. I'll entertain that motion.
How do you want this motion? Just as read?
It's
As listed below?
as listed below and amended. Chris, you have any suggestions on how to put that motion forward?
No, I think I'll make the motion that the members of the board are on the appropriate committees as read just prior to this motion
And discussed
and discussed.
with the additions.
And agreed. And those subject to approval, the minutes of this meeting.
Yes, thank you. All right,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item,
Terry, you can go back to auditor if you want to.
say again?
So you can go back to the auditor. if
Oh,
you'd
yes,
like
we-
to.
Thank you. We're gonna go back to the auditor now. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, so you could make the appointment this evening and you could change it at any time. So, you could go forward just as you intended to, Terry.
That's what I figured. Thank you. I'm just gonna try to find it now on the page here. Well, here we are. So, right now, we would like to appoint our auditor for the district as BST and Company CPAs out of Albany, New York. I'll entertain a motion on that.
Make a motion that we appoint BST Company, TPA LLP of Albany, New York to be our auditors.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
Subject to contract
Yes,
Subject to contract.
subject to contract.
as amended,
Yes,
as amended second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Good job. Thank you for that. Thank you, Michael.
No problem.
Right, so
And then
we'll
just
also-
one comment, Terry, on
Yes.
on the purchasing, and this will be helpful for Robin. Is that when you go to sign your vouchers, it would be very helpful for Robin if you had your supporting data delivered to her in compliance with the purchasing policy. So if the purchasing policy says we need, 2 written quotes, then those be supplied to Robin so that she has it to attach to the voucher, which you guys then sign to authorize payment. I think you guys were discussing other instances, maybe use of the credit card or department, purchases. But this is just a point of fact and not something that you have to adopt as a resolution. It's just, practice that all of the commissioners should be experienced with. And it would make Robin's life a heck of a lot easier if it isn't already happening.
Very well. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay, policy and procedure review. Chris, you opined on this earlier. I would go with your recommendation on this one, as we did it last year together. It took us a few weeks.
Although given the discussion that we're having tonight, I would suggest purchasing and procurement policy be addressed, if not the January, May, February, because up to a $10,000 purchases at the discretion of the purchaser. We don't need quotes. We can get verbal quotes. There has to be some notation of an inability or not being necessary to bid. Up for purchasing, our threshold without any competitive bids is $20,000. For any public works project, it's $35,000. That's pursuant to statute. But our policy doesn't really deviate from that. So I would suggest we make a copy of this particular policy, make sure all the board members review it prior to our next meeting, the February meeting, if we're going to revisit that.
We should,
Sorry, are you looking at July 9th, 2015?
I'm looking at whatever's in the book.
This is what's on the website.
Yeah, July 9th.
Okay, I'll email it.
Okay, thank you.
all righty.
This is on the website.
Okay, and we'll put that on the agenda for January 20th.
July 9th, 2014. Do you have access to the minutes from 2015, 2014?
I would have to look.
Okay, I'll look and see if I do. If I can find the minutes, so I'll send them on to you.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Chris, you're good with policy and procedure as discussed?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 23, approval of quote for the new website development and host. We're having some issues with the current web hosting firm, and we went ahead and located a reputable firm, Firehouse Solutions. So we're seeking approval of the board on that.
What was the quote? Was there, I mean, I feel like I saw an email,
You did.
but it was comparable, right?
It was. It was, yes.
Comparable to Redler. Robinson, am I got that right?
To 911 web.
Oh, no, you're right.
It we pay $8.82 a quarter to 911 webs to host both our site and Chapel Fire Department.
Right. Are we switching both over or just us?
Just us.
And we'll be paying what then before?
Annually, $13.84.
1,584?
$1,384 annually. It
That's
says,
it?
says annually after the first year, yes.
Yeah.
After we pay our setup fees.
Done. I make a motion.
Yeah.
We approve, entering that agreement.
Thank you. And it is a much more robust web hosting service.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approval of check. Oh, I'm sorry, and Ed said aye as well. Approval of check register.
I received the check register running from December 17, 2021 to January 3rd, 2022. I've had an opportunity to review it. I have no questions regarding it, and subject to discussion, I make a motion to approve it and pay the bills.
Second.
Aye, second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I would ask the secretary and treasurer to check our mailbox, see if anyone's sent in a request or a comment for us to consider.
None.
None? Thank you. Future dates, the next regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 20th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Email any questions and concerns for the board's consideration to, I'm going to spell phonetically for those residents, Bravo, Oscar, Foxtrot, Charlie, at November, Charlie, Foxtrot, Delta, 1.org. The organizational meeting agenda items are complete. I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, we go into executive session.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes. We should adjourn out of this meeting first. Do we have a second on the adjournment of
I'll
this
second.
meeting? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a personal matter of a particular person.
We need a second on that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.